The big five agree on one thing. And by the big five, I mean the big banks. The Reserve Bank, Standard Bank, First National Bank, Nedbank, ABSA. Those five all agree on one thing. They agree that it's a great time for you, a salaried earner, to buy an investment property. Now, how can I say such a thing? Well, let me backtrack a little bit. I just posted a video on YouTube, and I got a great question, a great comment, and it was from Warren. And he said that he took note that the only thing that a bank will lend money to you for, without additional security, is a property. Think about it. If you want to go and if you want to go and borrow money to buy stocks and shares, you want to go and buy the most blue chip share out there. Google, Amazon, the biggest company in the world. Try and buy shares for Amazon and try and borrow money from a bank to buy those shares. They said, no, the risk just doesn't cut it. But yet, they'll invest in you, a first-time home buyer. They'll give you up to 105% bond finance to buy a townhouse that you would go and put a tenant in, and then the tenant would pay the bond back. But the bank is prepared to take that risk. So the bank's all about risk. They hire armies and armies of accountants and actuaries, all to work out risk. And they've got hundreds of years of experience in the South African property market. So why would they now, 10 months, 11 months into COVID lockdown, worldwide pandemics, why are they lending money to us now to buy property? That begs the question, doesn't it? Clearly, they know something we don't. And they're all about risk. And if they're prepared to lend you 100% finance on a property, chances are they could probably go up to 200%, because they always edge their bets. But yet, you go and try, at the moment, Bitcoin's all the rage. It's reaching all-time highs. You try and go into the bank and borrow money to buy Bitcoin. They'll actually just laugh at you. You go and walk into that same bank and ask for money to buy shares in Amazon or Google or Apple or Anglo American. You try it. They're going to laugh at you. You go and borrow money to invest in your own business, and they'll want security. They'll want additional security. And what sort of security do they like most? Property. It's all about property. There's a reason why an owner of a property is called a landlord. Because actually, they're the ones who hold everything together. And the banks in South Africa, all over the world, but the other South African banks, they've got 200 years of history of the property market. They've seen the property market go through wars and all kinds of things. They've seen it go through the change from apartheid regime to the change in '94 when every person could vote. They've seen all the ups and downs. They've seen it all. And yet they are still now, 10 months into a worldwide pandemic, prepared to lend you not 100%, but up to 105%. So if you have a salary and you've got a good credit record, we can help you buy a property. And the banks are falling over themselves to lend you the money. And if you don't believe me, just go online. How do we know that the banks, these big five that I was talking about, how do we know that they actually want to lend you money? How do we know that they believe that it's a very low risk? And bear in mind, when they're lending you money to buy property, they're taking a bigger risk than you are, because they are shelling out cash, whereas you're not shelling out any cash at all. I actually really enjoy this. So how do you know that the banks believe it is a very low risk for them to lend you money to buy your first property investment? Well, it's simple. There are three things. The first thing is the banks reduce the interest rate. That's an invitation. The news and everywhere they say they're trying to stimulate the economy. What they're doing is they're trying to make it attractive for you to borrow money from them. So they lower their price. It's like a sale. There's a sale on bond finance at the moment. They've dropped the interest rate down to 7%. The second thing is they're advertising. Go look at it. They're spending money advertising to get you to come to them to borrow money from them. And not only will they, the third thing is not only will they lend you the full purchase price, they'll lend you more than the purchase price. They'll lend you 105%, up to 155% as a starter bond. If you have a salary and a good credit record, come talk to us. We'll show you how to get into your first property. So I'll leave a link below for property coaching. Push the button, come and see me. I'll take you through the process. I'll show you how to buy a good property, the right kind of property, pay the right price, buy in the right area, how to plan your portfolio. We'll show you all of that, and I'll steer you past all the pitfalls. But the first thing is to get through to your mind that buying property is not high risk. The banks know what they're doing. They're the belt and braces experts. And if they believe that they can lend you more than the purchase price of a property, they don't think buying property is very high risk at all. In fact, I want to show you a picture. I'm just going to go to my whiteboard. Sometimes a picture is like 1,000 words. So I thought I'd draw a little picture. And the idea is we've got to balance risk. We are balancing risk here. So on this scale, on this side of the scale, I have a little townhouse representing property. And the question is, think about how the bank thinks. The bank is saying, what risk is equivalent to a property? Because with a property, they're prepared to give you 100% bond finance. So, this question mark, what about some blue chip shares? The answer is, your bank manager is going to laugh at you. So we're going to cross up blue chip shares. What about a balanced portfolio that somebody like Sanlam or Allen Gray Investments will be able to give you? What about that? What about going to the bank and saying, I want to invest in a balanced portfolio? Let's call it a balanced portfolio. A balanced portfolio. It's great analogy here. Will the bank lend you money? Will they weigh the risk up? Will they lend you money to buy a balanced portfolio? In other words, what they're saying is a balanced portfolio equal to property? Is it even close? And the answer is no. What about Bitcoin? How does Bitcoin stack up against the property? It just doesn't. You can make a lot of money there, you can lose a lot of money. Banks understand risk, and they will not lend you money to buy Bitcoin. So let's cross out Bitcoin. What about a business? What if you're an entrepreneur and you want to borrow money, venture capital or whatever, to start a business? The bank looks at you, they look at all your credentials, and by business I mean something like a KFC franchise, a Nando franchise, any of the big names. So it's already got a name, and you go to the bank manager and say, I want to borrow R1 million or 2 million rand to start a franchise. Is he going to lend you the money? Will he weigh a franchise, a well-known franchise, let's call it KFC, how will a KFC franchise weigh up against a property? And I'm telling you now, it doesn't. It's like a feather. These are all like feathers to the banks. They see too much risk. It doesn't matter what credibility you offer them, how many years in business, they're going to want to see extra security. So in other words, they'll say, we'll lend you money, but put your house on the table. In other words, your property. Put your investment property on the table. Put your farm on the table. Put it up as security. But if you want to buy a little townhouse, they'll lend you all the money with no extra security. All they want is to see that they want to see 3 months bank statements, and they want to see your salary slip. That's all they want. And then they'll lend you the money to buy a property. So if this is exciting you as much as it's exciting me, then I'll leave a link downstairs at www.organicgrowth.co.za/coach. Push the button and see what coaching services we offer, and I'll show you, if you're a salaried earner and you've got a clear credit record, how to get into property.